Hey, good afternoon to you. Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here. It is August 1st, 2020. I am down here in the Palm Coast area of Florida, and it is about, what is it, 12:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Hurricane Isaias here. Not really looking very healthy today, which is good news, but you know what they say, it's not over till it's over. So let's talk about, again, what we know, what's happening right now, what you should expect in Florida first, and then up the coast from there, and then look at a couple of things that we might want to look for, kind of like we say, keys to the game. Could it intensify a little bit more? Is it going to just continue to weaken? You know, it's hard to say with this one. It's been a real guessing game from the very beginning, and I don't think it's going to quit, honestly. But at least it's not intensifying. That is certainly some good news as we start the day. First of all, a look at the National Hurricane Center track. This is the 3-day plot, and it comes really close with the center to the Florida Peninsula here in the next little bit, you know, between today, early tomorrow, and it's a fairly slow mover right now. Even by 8 a.m. Monday, it's still up here just east of Jacksonville, so we're talking about another 48 hours that is going to be in the vicinity of Florida, and that is going to do one very important thing that we need to address. Florida obviously has a lot of beaches, and so this east side of Florida here, a lot of people are at the beach. They have families at the beach, these rip currents, heavy surf, etc. That's going to be an increasing problem, so please heed those warnings. If you ever see the double red flags or any red flags at the beach, or the lifeguards are asking you to stay out of the water, you know, come on, don't ignore that. You know, go up to your knees or something maybe. That's about it. This is a very serious thing, the rough surf, and that is going to be very prevalent. So if you know people that are down at the beach, maybe they don't go very often, they're visiting from way out of state or something, please let them know that, you know, the surf can be dangerous, all right? Don't want to have you ruining your weekend, you know, but the surf can do that in a very bad way if you don't respect it. So that's the first hazard. Then it comes up into the Carolinas, it looks like, and that high surf is going to be an issue all along the coast here. That's the very first thing we're going to notice, and we saw that yesterday with pictures coming out here of eastern Cuba, the northeast part of Cuba here, this peninsula not far from Guantanamo, some problems with heavy surf conditions there busting up some property. So this is a look at the track. We could have some storm surge. In fact, if we go real quick and just look at the hazards affecting land, this is a very important area of the public advisory. And storm surge, we're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4 feet above ground level, all right, from Jupiter Inlet up to Ponte Vedra Beach, and then North Miami Beach up to Jupiter Inlet about 1 to 3 feet. And remember that this storm surge now in the last several years is mentioned, I think, from 2014 on as above ground level. So it doesn't mean that everybody from Jupiter Inlet up to Ponte Vedra is going to get 4 feet or even 2 feet, but the potential is there depending on the track, the timing of the tide cycle, and we are going into full moon. And this could also have implications later on for places like Charleston Harbor. We're going into full moon. We already see these sunny day flood events as it is. You add some storm surge on top of that, and yes, some areas could get some saltwater inundation. Luckily, this is not life-threatening as long as you're very sensible about it. Use common sense, but be aware there could be some surge. All right, so even down in the Bahamas as well, 3 to 5 feet, depending on a lot of variables, and it really does matter where the strongest winds are, onshore flow, local bay effect, you know, where the water gets trapped in a concave area. Very difficult to narrow it down to your exact location, but if you've seen flooding before, this could flood you again. Luckily, though, with it not being a strong hurricane, these values are not very high. Rainfall is another hazard here. 4 to 8 inches maybe down in the Bahamas, maybe isolated areas of 12. And then along Cuba, still up to 4 inches. Florida 2 to 4 with 6 inches possible. You know, the bottom line is rainfall could be an issue. But then the Carolinas, maybe some 6-inch areas up into the northeast, 2 to 4 with possibly 6. And we can see this represented graphically. I really like that they have all these products on the National Hurricane Center page. I don't know why I did that. Let's go back. Let's see. View image. Thank you. So this gives you an idea of the rainfall swath. The brighter the colors, the more rain there could be. And this will change as well. This is based on model guidance. But you can see the overall look here is for quite a bit of rainfall all the way up a good deal of the East Coast and the Southeast. So a lot of people are going to get some maybe much needed rain if it's not too much. Maybe some localized river flooding, but we're not looking at another Florence or a Harvey type event, and that's good, obviously. So keep in mind about that public advisory, hazards affecting land, if you're curious about that. And another quick tidbit for you, if you go to weather.gov, weather.gov, and you just click on an area, Southeast Florida, for example, you get all kinds of information here on the landing page. And you can click on like Miami. You say, hey, I'm in Miami and surrounding vicinity. I want to know what's going on. That right there is your best friend. Read it. The Hurricane Local Statement. That tells you all kinds of detailed information. Very helpful. I'm not going to go through it because this is your homework. All right. I'm just giving you the advice, the tools you need to know what could be happening in your area. And it's applicable anywhere where there's a warning in effect, okay? So keep that in mind. The hurricane watch in the offshore waters here and along the coast, this blue color, any of these that you want to know what they are all about. Rip current statement, beach hazards, you name it, it's there. You just click on the area you're interested in, or you can put your zip code in here. Mine is 28405 for Wilmington. You know, we don't have anything happening up our way yet in terms of hurricane local statements, but this is your area to read anything in red. And these are written by people at your local weather forecast office. It's not a robot generating this. You know, there's templates, but I'm telling you, believe me, this is really good information, very helpful. All right, satellite imagery here. Clearly, Isaias is not doing very well today, so that's a positive for those of us along the coast that would just rather not have to deal with a hurricane, considering everything else that's going on. Why does it look like this? And you can see it's a disheveled mess, kind of discombobulated, very, very well-defined low-level circulation in there. That is unmistakable. So the framework, all right, and this is important, the frame of the car is still good. The engine is still intact, if you will. It's there. The heartbeat is strong. But the rest of it, you know, it's got some front-end damage. Maybe it's been sideswiping a little bit, you know, if we want to put it into race terms here. Trying to get you to understand, you know, it's not like it's being sheared by 50 knots and the thing is moving west into that shear at 20 knots and it's just going to decouple and dissolve and go away. This is a large piece of energy still. It's over very warm water. August 1st, the beginning of that ramp up and climatologically favorable, the period of the hurricane season where we normally see things get going. This has a lot going for it despite the negatives. Okay, let's just keep it into perspective. That being said, it is disheveled. It is weakening. There probably still are some hurricane force gusts out in these areas of thunderstorms, these convective cells, but I'm not seeing any lightning near the core. The lightning's over here in this band of convection coming across the central Bahamas. But closer to the center, if there's any hurricane force winds, they're probably going to be measured in gusts. You know, it's just kind of windy and blowing, and then you get that just downburst, right? And it's like, whoa, that's where you're going to probably see that. Will it come back? Well, I mean, if I knew for sure, I'd tell you. It doesn't look real likely, and we'll go through some of the reasons why I think that in just a moment. Here's the 30-frame radar loop off of the HurricaneTrack Insider site. Almost forgot that we had this. Our patrons and our HurricaneTrack Insider members can access this. And this is nice because it's 30 frames and you get the idea of the motion of these storms. Some of these bands, as they come through, will create some of these advisories and marine warnings from the National Weather Service out of Miami. And as you can see, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, West Palm, yep, there's some bands coming your way. And it's these bands, as they come in, that bring you the impacts. And I think you know this if you've been living down in Florida long enough. When a hurricane comes, the rain bands are what bring those impacts. So this is another key for you to watch. And this is also available, the radar imagery, at weather.gov at absolutely no cost. You're already paying for it through your taxes. At least you should be. And you can loop it. You can check it out. There's great radar apps that you can get for your smartphone. I like Radar Scope, which is right here. Very good app. It's called Radar Scope. That's what it looks like. If you can see it there, Radar Scope. It's $10, but it's a fantastic app. And I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get any kind of a kickback. They may not even know that I exist, and that's fine. A lot of people use Radar Scope. But the bottom line, if you want to know, how am I going to know when the wind and rain's coming towards me? Watch it on radar, and you can mark your location on these radar apps, especially Radar Scope, and then you can see when those rain bands are coming. So just to give you an idea of what the effects look like, it's not quite within the radar range of Miami where we can see the center, but that center not looking very healthy today. The outflow is restricted over here, but the low-level integrity, the structure is definitely still there. So we'll see. Well, the intensity guidance, though, is not looking very promising for Isaias. It's generally down and very clustered down. This one here is an outlier. You know, I wouldn't worry about that too much. When you see an outlier, statistically speaking, those outliers tend to be tossed. The consensus of the models here is generally down. All right, so I don't think it's going to make much of a comeback. But that being said, before we go look at the GFS, I want to be very careful that we talk about hype, where people will hype up a big event, and this got a lot of hype Thursday and yesterday, and rightfully so. The data that we were looking at, the guidance was suggesting a hurricane threat for a lot of people, and it's inevitably exciting, right? If an elephant were to burst through the window here to my right, it would inherently be exciting. It would be scary. It'd scare the you-know-what out of me. It would damage the window. It's not a good thing, right? You understand this? But it's inherently an exciting, by definition, event. So the hurricane threat out there automatically gets people talking. News media, social media, individuals. And there's this idea that it's hyped up. And sometimes that can be good, sometimes that's bad. I try to just look at things as they are. But just remember, it's inherently hyped. It's inherently exciting just by saying the word hurricane. It absolutely is. But there's also the problem of downplaying something, and some people like to try to downplay everything to make it look like, well, they saw it coming, and they're going to calm everybody's nerves. And they might downplay something to the extent that people ignore it, especially if that person is a trusted individual. I saw that with Hurricane Michael in 2018. Some people were really downplaying it. It's going to be sheared. It's October. Not going to be much more than 50, 60 knots at landfall. Look what happened. Not everything is like Michael, though. So my point is, as we look at the GFS here, and we go through what could happen, I'm not going to be shocked if in 2 days everything changes again, because the science is not good enough to detect these things for intensity. It really isn't. And sometimes you do have these things blow up on you. All right, so just keep that in the back of your mind. We need to respect the limitations of intensity forecasting. Think about it. 2 days ago, Thursday, and then even yesterday, the intensity guidance was suggesting a strong hurricane was going to approach the southeast and go up the east coast. Now, the intensity guidance, not so much. All right? So think about what we will know in 2 days. So prepare your mind and your physical being for a hurricane along the east coast here, the southeast coast. Just put that mindset. Okay, self, family, business, whatever. Hurricane might be coming. What do we do? That doesn't mean you get upset, panicked, and angry about it. Just, all right, could be a hurricane coming. I live along the coast. What did I think was going to eventually happen? I'm serious. That's how you look at it. And if a hurricane doesn't come, consider yourself lucky and be happy about it. Okay? So let's see what goes on here in the GFS. This is the basically the mean sea level pressure that we see there, and it's showing about 994 at about 6 hours out. So this is valid. 2 p.m. this afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and you get an idea of the rain rate and the structure of it. It kind of looks like a radar image, but it's not. But it gives us an idea of the pressure and what the sort of the rain shield would look like with it, the precip shield with the oranges and the reds, and maybe a little bit of the banding gets showed up. I like this level from time to time. So let's move it along. This goes out every 6 hours, and it approaches Florida there. This is now valid at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, 8 a.m. tomorrow, real close to landfall there near West Palm Beach at about 999 millibars on the barometer. Now, the GFS is not an intensity model. It's a global model. It's not specifically designed to forecast the intensity of tropical cyclones. Nevertheless, 999, notice the precip, the heavy stuff, offshore. So you're not going to feel much along the coast there. It doesn't appear. Some effects, yes, it'll get windier, the waves will come up, but most of the precip, because it looks lopsided, should remain offshore. So that's an interesting clue. Moving on out into time, 36 hours. So this is now Sunday evening. A little bit better organized overall. The pressure 997 or so as it crawls up the coast south of Cocoa, Canaveral. And so Sunday night, and then finally 2 a.m. Monday morning, inland, just riding right up the coast there, very close to St. Augustine, just south of there, Marineland, that area. This is 8 a.m. Monday. Then it gets offshore, and notice what's happening here. Let's go back. The pressure is 1,001, 1,005, 1,004. But then look what happens here. 1,001, this is Monday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then 990, looks like a 6 in there. And much better organized than the precip shield. This is what I see. And it makes landfall there near Myrtle Beach in vicinity, maybe near Georgetown or something. And then on up into the Carolinas. All right? But it does strengthen in the model here in those last hours before landfall. So that has me wondering, are we going to see some changes that start to filter down closer to where we are now? This is what I'm talking about. It's not over till it's over. So in the Carolinas, we got to watch this, because if this track is never onshore all the way and it comes up even a little bit more east, this could be stronger. If the track is more west and it just stays inland, it's a complete, it washes out and that's the end of it. So we got to stay on top of it. You know, this is, I'm showing you, we're not hyping anything, all right? So just, when you understand it like this, you can say, okay, I need to keep an eye on this, all right? It's all good. And we keep our head about it, and we see what could happen. The modeling is indicating some changes there. The structure of it gets shown, and we got to definitely watch this, all right? And a couple of items to note to bolster the idea that it could strengthen more later. Water temperatures up near the Carolinas after Florida, definitely warm enough. 28, 29 Celsius, okay? We're talking about mid-80s Fahrenheit. Definitely warm enough. Not in question at all. Let's see, where could this impact? We talked about this a little earlier. Right now it's here. Impacts from Miami all the way up the coast. You guys just waves, wind, rain, some storm surge. Again, my best advice, if you want to know what's going to happen, you live in Jacksonville, you're in Daytona or maybe Ormond Beach, West Palm, Vero, wherever. Weather.gov, put in your zip code, read the hurricane local statement, and it'll give you a really solid idea of what to expect. All right, great group of people on Patreon. It's growing. We're doing a lot with it. And just mention it real quick. I'm going to do a video specifically about what we're doing with Patreon and our crowdfunding later when I get back. But just wanted to show you here, we do have these It's kind of like a mini social media atmosphere. I can make posts in a blog format. People can comment. I can post my videos. They always go on Patreon first, and then within about 15 minutes I make them public. Our camera. iPad's talking to me for some reason. Let's turn that off. Hang on. Put that over there. I guess that's my cue to just sign off. We're doing some good things with Patreon. Somebody's trying to FaceTime me on my iPad. I'm going to do a video about it and go in much more detail when we get back. But if you're interested in it, that's where we're crowdfunded. That's what supports all of this. It's patreon.com, the unexpected iPad FaceTime call. Patreon.com/HurricaneTrack. They're trying again. Check it out. And we're doing a lot with it. Anyway, that really threw me off. Listen, I'm down here in Florida. I'm going to have live 360 video going here in just a few minutes. Poor person, I'm going to have to chide them. Don't bother me while I'm working. We're going to have live 360 video. Actually, it was provided by one of our patrons. So there you go. And I said that right. Live 360 video. I'm getting ready to leave, pack up from the vehicle. Never been done before that I know of. And weather coverage, okay? It's going to be on Patreon first. We're going to give it to them because they support all of this for about an hour. Let them see it first, our patrons. And then we're going to make it public on YouTube, and it's going to be amazing. It'll have some glitches here and there, but we're going to change things again. We started live video 15 years ago. We were the first to do that in a hurricane. Absolutely, we were the first. Now we're going to change it again, 360. In fact, if you have an Oculus Quest or another VR headset, you should watch it in that. 360 video, 360 audio. It's going to be amazing. And it's all because of our crowdfunding that we're able to do that. So thank you all. We really appreciate it. All right, I'm out of here. Sorry about that stumble at the end, but hey, it's what happens. It's all good. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. Thank you so much for watching and for your support. I'll have more for you live in 360 throughout the next couple of days from Florida as we see what happens with the hurricane. I'll have more for you later.